Opposable grips, gas pedals, thumb rests, technically they're all different devices but all produce the same result. A small ledge on the support side of a handgun that allows the user to apply downwards pressure with their support thumb. A simple concept that's been around since the late 1980s as far as I could tell, and started making its way into the mainstream competition around the mid-1990s. And according to BlackSteel USA, every world champion since 2000, along with every US national champion from 2015 to 2022, use some form of gas pedal on their platform. Since this is a tool the best of the best are using, I figured it would definitely be worth taking a peek at. I'm G, and I run the Rebel Spirit Operations channel, and today we will be looking at the grip control module from BlackSteel USA. Hold tight.
I am the nation. I was born on July 4th, 1776, and the Declaration of Independence is my birth certificate. The bloodlines of the world run in my veins because I offered freedom to the oppressed. I'm many things and many people. I'm 200 million living souls and the ghost of millions who have lived and died for me. I'm Nathan Hale and Paul Revere. I stood at Lexington and fired the shot heard round the world. I'm Washington, Jefferson, Patrick Henry. I'm John Paul Jones, the Green Mountain Boys, and Davy Crockett. I'm Lee, Grant, and Abe Lincoln. I'm more than 3 million farms. I'm forest, field, mountain, and desert. I'm quiet villages, and I'm cities that never sleep. You can look at me and see Ben Franklin walking down the streets of Philadelphia with his bread loaf under his arm. You can see Betsy Ross with her needle. You can see the lights of Christmas and hear the strains of Auld Lang Syne as the calendar turns again.
Alright guys, this content is free and always will be, at least for me anyhow. However, this stuff does take up quite a bit of time, and YouTube pays less than being a beer fetcher for my uncle whenever I was 6. I figured the best way to compensate for this was to partner with some amazing companies producing equally amazing products. I spread the good news, so to speak, and get a kickback anytime one of you yahoos uses my discount code or link. It's small,
So smooth.
but nevertheless it's appreciated, and I just wanted to be upfront about it. That being said, Athena Precision is a company producing objectively high-quality firearms accessories and a partner of this channel. They are a small shop based out of Utah known for their pistol optic plates produced out of hardened heat-treated steel, as well as many other products like their adjustable offset red dot mount. I've personally been eyeing one of these setups for a Holosun 507C for a good bit now, and may end up snagging one soon. But I digress. Go check them out, the link will be in the description below, or use code Rebel Spirit Operations for 10% off your entire order. Alright, so if you haven't figured it out by now, the grip control module is a gas pedal of sorts with a unique aspect to it. It's hinged and spring-loaded, which in my opinion makes it a perfect option for many applications, including EDC. And even though this video will be primarily reviewing this specific product, I'm also going to be using this opportunity to talk about gas pedals in general, and why I believe that there is not only a good argument to be made on why the individual should run one, but why I think guns will start coming out with them stock from the factory, or at least why they should. The grip control is produced by a company called BlackSteel USA, which is a small shop located around a town called Belt Buckle, Tennessee. Gotta love America. The device itself, or at least all the models I've seen, replace the takedown lever of said firearm with an identical one that has a gas pedal affixed to the support side. However, unlike most options on the market, the one from BlackSteel is collapsible, greatly reducing the profile of it and surprisingly making it compatible with existing holsters with little to no modifications, which seems to be a common thing amongst many different brands. They also come in 3 different lengths for both left and right-handed shooters, as well as support a ton of different makes and models of firearms. So you're bound to find something that fits your needs. And if you don't, well, they actually have a way to vote on their next model on their website, which I thought was a really cool way for them to include the community. I don't get paid by them in any form or fashion, but one of my buddies desperately wants them to make one for the 1911, so who knows? Perhaps if this video does well, it will convince them to push it to the front of the line. Smash that like button to help a friend of a friend. Anyhow, if you don't know, gas pedals in general provide the user with a reliable, consistent point of contact for them to apply downward pressure on as a way to combat muzzle rise. They come in all shapes and sizes and have been around for 40 years, give or take, but haven't been widely accepted for general use in large. Although while doing some research for this video, I came across a few sources that suggest they are more prevalent in European countries compared to the United States, which if true, I just thought was an interesting bit of lore. As to why they haven't been widely adopted, That's not quite clear. But they have been popping up more frequently, both in the competition world as well as coming stock from the factory. Granted, a fair amount of those models are marketed towards competition shooters, and most of them are just a small ledge built into the polymer itself, with a few exceptions. This baffled me because once I experienced firsthand just how much of a benefit a gas pedal provided, not only was I completely sold on the concept, but I wholeheartedly believe that they are the biggest game changer in handgun shooting since the adoption of the red dot onto the platform. Some people may disagree with that statement, which is perfectly fine because it's an opinion statement. However, they would also be fucking wrong as hell.
What do you mean you don't agree with me? Do you know who you're dealing with?
All jokes aside, I'm perfectly aware that proper hand placement, grip technique, and pressure control reduces the need for a thumb rest, just like I'm perfectly aware that proper sight alignment between my rear and front sight posts will land me accurate shots. But I, as well as many others, likely including yourself, still choose a red dot over iron sights. This isn't because it provides us any new capabilities, but because amongst other things, it's more efficient, and 95% of the time, it increases the overall capabilities of both the untrained and highly trained alike. Now, I know you're the real-life manifestation of John Wick, as you write in the comments about how I should just get good to some degree. However, like I stated before, myself, as well as many others, are not. Proficient handgun shooting is difficult thanks to the design of the platform and how it's meant to be operated. And in my opinion, as long as the juice is worth the squeeze, so to speak, I will look into anything that can make that process easier or more consistent. The only thing a gas pedal does is give the user a new angle at which to control muzzle rise. It could be argued that it gives the user an additional, reliable point of contact, but that's neither here nor there, and depends on a host of other factors, to be honest. The angle benefit alone is enough for it to be on equal footing with a red dot in terms of added benefit for the end user. Again, in my opinion, I have to emphasize that word because apparently some people are fucking emotionally attached to shit like this. Also, anytime I bring up gas pedals, whether it be in Discord, Instagram, YouTube, Reddit, whatever, there's always some Yahoo FUD making some sly comment about how people don't need a gas pedal to control the recoil of a 9mm, which is fucking hilarious in its own right given the fact that they don't know the difference between muzzle rise and recoil, but I figured I'd just nip that comment in the bud as well. Every handgun has muzzle rise, regardless of the caliber, and while larger calibers will typically have more muzzle rise than smaller ones, the biggest factor is the design of the pistol itself. I don't want to get too much into details here because I'll get lost in the weeds and we're starting to drift into recoil versus muzzle rise territory, but in short, this is why pistols like the Alien from Largo Arms is the talk of the town whenever they come to the market. I've never shot one, but mechanically speaking, they should produce less muzzle rise than your more standard option like a Glock. Gas pedals combat muzzle rise very well and give some much needed control back to the shooter, so much so that shooters are often a bit shocked when they experience it for the first time. I know it was true for me and true for most of the people I've shot with. So why are they not a standard feature or more widely adopted? Well, I don't know, to be honest. Or at least not exactly. I'm guessing it's a combination of factors like manufacturing capabilities, butt floor, holster fitment, logistics, as well as a handful of others, most of which I think are either overhyped talking points or have been made less relevant as time and technology progresses. Holsters, for example, have not only dramatically increased in overall quality, nowadays, it's extremely easy to have a custom one made or to alter an already existing one, allowing for the accommodation of a gas pedal, which in their own right have also increased in quality and capabilities as time's progressed. Case in point, the grip control module from BlackSteel is a shining example of this. Their spring lever that auto-deploys is a really cool idea that works both in theory and in practice. It's also a great option that requires very minimal alterations to your already existing holster, if any at all. This duty style from Midwest Tactical Solutions requires 0 changes, while this 7800 series from Safariland requires you to file down 1 to 2 small ledges depending on the model. CCW options are a bit of a mix and match as well. I went ahead and repressed one small section of this holster from Neptune Concepts using my wife's hairdryer just to get a more consistent re-index. The module also comes in 3 different lengths depending on the needs of the shooter. Most of my experience has been with their number 1 model, which is the shortest out of the bunch, and I find it to be an adequate option. Personally, with my large hands and grip style, I think their number 2 model, which sits slightly closer towards the muzzle, would fit me best, But like I said, the shortest option is still perfectly usable even with my really large hands. The face of the paddle is also something I wanted to take a peek at. Here's where you can have your cake and eat it too, in a manner of speaking. You can see that not only does it have some texture to it, which is a nice touch by the way, thank you for that, but it has a large face, which is great for my meaty hands and great for gloves as well. Yet even with that large face, it still has a very small profile when riding in the holster, thanks again to that collapsible design. And this is where our beloved John Wick keyboard warrior chimes in about how the hinge being an additional point of failure or something about it not having enough time on the market to be duty rated. And to that I say,
danger? Ha! I walk on the wild side. I laugh in the face of danger.
okay. On a more serious note, is it possible that the hinge mechanism on it breaks in some form or fashion? Sure. Is it likely? Nah, I don't think so. At least not from my first-hand experience. Between myself and a few buddies who meet up and shoot bi-weekly, we have 5 separate modules in our testing pool, both in left and right-handed configurations, with thousands of rounds put on them, none of which have even lost their springiness, much less had an issue. The one currently on my P10F has just under 2,000 rounds on it, along with countless dry fire draws, and the only sign of damage to it is the finish. Everything could break, but seeing as we have a bigger than average sample pool size with 0 issues gives me a fair amount of confidence in this particular product. For the past few years, compensators and ported barrels have been growing in popularity for their ability to reduce muzzle rise and perhaps provide a small amount of recoil reduction. And as much as I love a good comp, they are a bit of a hassle to initially get into, not to mention fairly expensive when you consider all the factors. They require consistent maintenance, and no matter how good they are, all of them affect reliability to some degree. Ported barrels are much of the same thing, plus as far as I know, they reduce bullet velocity, which is just a no-go for me personally. A gas pedal is very much a plug-and-play device that's super affordable. You don't need any special components like a threaded barrel, you don't have to worry about any kind of timing, set screws, or additional maintenance, and there's no need to send part of your gun off to get cut, drilled, or anything of the sort. Simply slap it in and get to work. Depending on the model you choose, there may be some initial holster fitment issues you have to work out, but that really is a simple fix, and once it's done, there's nothing left to do. And again, that's what makes this model from BlackSteel such a home run. I barely had to do anything to any of my holsters. Anyways guys, that's my long-winded argument for gas pedals, thumb rests, whatever you want to call them, as well as my review over the grip control module from BlackSteel USA. Again, not paid by them in any form or fashion, I just wanted to shine a spotlight on a good, well thought out product, as well as my prediction that we will probably start seeing gas pedals in some form or fashion pop up more frequently. But hey, what do I know? I don't think I can link to their website because YouTube is scared that 2 congressmen sucking dick in the Senate chamber, but I'll link to their Instagram, where I'm sure you can figure it out from there. And if you made it this far into this video, don't forget to go check out the community website, which will also be linked down in the description below. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. This is G with Rebel Spirit Operations, and I'm out. Later.